Your Best Coaching webinar. Today we are live and going through some live technical issues. For some reason, my desktop doesn't want to load Restream, so here I am on my cell phone going live with this presentation on curiosity. The problem with my cell phone is the PowerPoint that I was going to use is also not loading. So curiosity, what is it and why is it so important? Well, when you think about curiosity, kids have tons of it. And one of the reasons why kids have tons of curiosity, but it's all over the place, is the wiring in the brain when you're a kid is about twice as big, twice as many connections in a kid's brain as there is in an adult's brain. And the reason obviously this is because they're learning, right? They've got to figure out what's going on in the world, and it's very messy in a kid's brain, which is why kids have got all of these random questions and these random thoughts. And it's getting to that point 5, 6, 7, 8-ish where the brain then starts trimming this and they start trimming those synapses. And what happens then is the brain then starts to get smaller, right? Not the brain size, but the connections within the brain get smaller, and things become a little bit more sensible and organized. The problem is with that, the curiosity then tends to go away. Much of the research done on this is saying that the curiosity tends to go away because we're actually getting to learn what we need to learn. And once we know something, then what's the point in actually asking questions about it and needing to learn more? But the problem with that thought is, in today's world, the more curious you are, the more apt you are to figure out what else is going on in the world around you. Finally, my presentation has now uploaded. Yay! So curiosity. So I've waxed lyrical on some of the stuff that's going on, talked about kids, talked about the idea of this curiosity. I'm going to turn my phone sideways to see if that helps. And then put those on so I can actually read it. So anyway, the idea of curiosity is, I can't read the quote now. That's the other problem. Okay, we're just going to keep going and keep working through this. We've got this, and I can make this happen somehow, somewhere. The wonders of modern technology and phones. So we're going to then continue with this. You can read the quote on your own. The curiosity piece, the idea between curiosity and living this world is we want to stay curious. The job's brain is to keep us alive. It's about self-preservation. And when you think about asking questions and being curious about something, that could actually threaten that that life, right? Asking questions around you could really threaten what you're doing to ask questions of the world. Through what we're doing. I'm going to do this so I can look at what's going on around me here. All right, so you get the point. Let's move on to the idea of this would be so much easier if it was on my desktop. Just going back to the curiosity thing, the brain's job is to keep us alive, but curiosity has the ability to overcome that and overpower that. It just doesn't like to because it could, in fact, create dangerous situations. But if you can tap into your curiosity, then you can learn a whole lot more about what's going on in the world. That's where that was going. So my story of curiosity, I moved here in 2000 from England. I wanted to figure out, well, what does it mean to live in a foreign country? What does that look like? Am I going to be able to grow, expand, explore? And so I was already curious about what it was like to move and try something new. And that's been the story of my life since I've come over here. Yes, I've had my ups and downs, but I was a salesman my entire life. But then I got into coaching soccer, youth soccer, and I was wondering, well, what is it that make kids tick? And that desire to understand more got me into learning more about coaching and understanding how to work with kids, which led me into starting a nonprofit. Then COVID hit, and through COVID, I said that we've pivoted, Lord knows how many times within Pure Game. But that actually got me thinking about what else could be done for kids. What else could I offer the world? Which then got me into professional coaching world and changing what was going on. So I consider one of my top 3 values, one of curiosity. I want to learn, I want to understand. And I am currently on a journey of learning more about curiosity. So I've picked up 5 books, all about curiosity, and I'm part way through that. And my goal is to read these 5 books by the end of January, and I'm well on track to do that. And in learning about curiosity, I'm realizing that it's a gift that we've been given to help us unlock our potential. Once you start to get curious about something like I did about youth coaching, I wanted to then master that. I wanted to get better at that. So I started to learn more about coaching, which then created this passion in me. So curiosity led to me wanting to learn more. So in this world, it created a passion, which then led to mastery, and now has given me a purpose. And for the last 15, 16, 18 years, I have been living this purpose, which started with curiosity. I am on that same path now as I'm starting to learn more about curiosity. I'm starting to read these 5 books because I want to master it. And that's going to create in me, I know, a passion to want to do more and be more. And so, what can you do about your curiosity, making this whole thing about you? The world in which we live is an incredibly interesting place, but we've got to take the time to pay attention to it. The flip side of curiosity is the fact that if we know something about a subject, then do we need to learn any more about it? Or am I proficient? Am I in my comfort zone and doing what needs to be done just to get through the day, right? And that's a sad state to live in because it doesn't create passion and purpose. And so my pathway is to help people, youth athletes, teen athletes, student athletes, people who are interested about what's beyond that. Can we tap them into a passion to create a purpose beyond what they're doing? And if you can allow this is the sad part. If you allow yourself to become incurious, your life will be drained of color. I love that thought. If I'm not curious, this world becomes a very dull place because I'm going to accept what is given to me as fact. I want to become curious about anything that's coming my way. And if you can find what feeds your curiosity, then delve into that. And on the other side of that, if you can find out what starves your curiosity, then avoid that. But my challenge through this is, can you become curious about you and your life? Can you make it a little bit more of an interesting world because you're curious? The power of curiosity is there. There's so much that curiosity that can give you. When I was actually putting this deck together, that 3-point bullet point note there That was about 12 bullet points, and I had to condense it down into something that was manageable. But if you think about it, curiosity enhances learning and makes you more adaptable. This presentation is a perfect example of that situation. Here I am now holding my phone in my hand, um, doing a live stream, reading the deck off my laptop, but presenting on my phone because technology wasn't cooperating. And so I had to figure out a different way of doing it. And it was my curiosity that got me thinking, well, what if I use my phone instead of my desktop? Anyway, you get the idea, that you become more adaptable. You want to learn the world around you. Obviously, it boosts creativity and innovation. The more curious you are, the more you are likely to look at things differently. As you look at things differently, you are going to get different answers and different solutions, which then brings up innovation. But it also improves interpersonal skills and relationships. I want to be passionate about those people I meet. To be passionate with those people I meet, I've got to be curious to find out who they are, what makes them tick, why do they do the things they do. It's interesting to ask unusual questions of people because it gets them to stop and think. So again, my recommendation is start to get curious about your life and about other people's life. And you can then start to grow and learn. I love this book that I read. It was actually about curiosity. So how do you foster curiosity? I've got this foxhog idea here. If you think about hedgehogs, they know one way to defend themselves. They curl up in a ball and they rely on their spikes. So if you are looking to capture a hedgehog, they will roll up. They know one way and they do it very, very well. I know this because I had a Rottweiler a long time ago, and he used to hate hedgehogs because he used to find them and they used to wrap themselves into a ball. And hey presto, he couldn't get it, and he used to get very frustrated at these things because he couldn't bite into them. Anyway, foxes, however, when you're hunting foxes, foxes have many ways that they avoid capture. They run, they burrow, they're very clever. And so they have many ways. So a foxhog is, in today's world, thinking about how we know things. You want to be deep, understand deeply one or two subjects, right? Understanding deeply the one or two subjects, that is the hedgehog. But you also want a broad understanding of the world we live in. That's the fox. So it's this T understanding, right? If you've got the capital T, you've got a broad range of understanding of different subjects and topics where you're going thin, jack of all trades type thing. But you've got a deep, deep understanding of one or two topics, and they're your specialty, and you know more about those. You've become curious about all of those types of topics that you're into. So foxhog, I love that idea. That's kind of what I'm working towards now. And then, no, it's not a spelling error on there. It's actually, can you become a thinkerer? So, a thinkerer. If you're a tinker, right? If you tinker with things, then you're kind of messing around with lots of different ideas. You're very kind of big picture. A tinkerer is a big picture type person, but a thinker sweats the small stuff. They really do focus on the minute details. So to be something of a curious master, think about a foxhog and a thinkerer. Great way to think about curiosity in the world we live in. So some curiosity obstacles that can get in our way. Again, I said this, we want to protect ourselves from looking foolish, so we don't ask questions. We don't question the situation. We're too busy. In a busy world, curiosity can slow us down. So we tend not to be curious because we just want to accept what's in front of us. Our culture has always discouraged it. In years and years and years ago, when the church had its grip on Europe, it didn't want people to be curious. In fact, there was a lot going on that had the church have a hold on those curious and people, because only the church could be curious, and everyone else had to follow the rules. So our culture somewhat discourages it. Schools like questions to a degree, but then put a hold on it because it takes longer to get through that curious mind if you want to go deeper. And we lack the skills to ask good questions. When were you ever taught how to ask a really good question? It's something that I have been pondering for a long time. How do I ask better questions? How do I figure out what question is best for the situation at hand? So, but we lack the skills because no one's teaching us how to ask these questions. And then things are easy the way they are, right? If I'm comfortable doing everything that I'm doing, things are comfortable, I'm going to keep doing these things. So knowing these curious obstacles will help you understand what might be stopping you from becoming a little bit more curious about your life and about the world around you and about the people around you. To overcome these, you'll want to start thinking about how do I engage with those people on a daily basis in a different way? How do I engage my life in a different way? To give you an example of this, I wake up every morning and my first thought is today is going to be an awesome day. For some reason today I changed it and I asked the question, how is today going to be an awesome day? And that actually has been stuck with me all day. I'm thinking about things now as I'm going through the day. How do I make this an awesome day? And it's the way that I interact with people, the way I interact with this. I made this happen because I had to step out of my comfort zone in a big way. I'm looking at this tiny screen, like I said, reading a PowerPoint off the desktop. It's not the best place, but this was, I could have just said, well, never mind, move on. But I didn't. I became curious and I wanted to make today an awesome day. So how do you flex your muscle? Ask one question per day about what you do. I love this question. What is the fresh idea that will help you stand out? What is the fresh idea that will help me stand out? What is the fresh idea that will help me stand out? It's a great question to ponder as you go through the day. And the brilliant thing about questions and the thing about curiosity is you don't need the answer. You can let that whir in your mind because the subconscious part of your brain is so much more powerful than the conscious part. And so if you can just plant the question, that will then roll through the day and somewhere along the line, something will come up. It's hard, though, in this world of instant gratification. If I've got a question, I can just type it into Google and away I go, I get the answer. We want to change that. We want to sit with a question for a long time. And then I've added this, pick up something new every day. Examine it, look at it. Look at it with a beginner's mind. And a beginner's mind is that hasn't created a label yet. So if you're picking up a coin, maybe you just get rid of the label of this is a coin, pick it up and examine it, look at it. I don't know, anything, just pick something up, look at it. So to find out more, you can visit mpbcoaching.com, register for our next month's webinar. I'll get that up on the website this week. The replay will be coming out. You can watch the replay. And so I just want to say, thank you very much for tuning in. Once again, I apologize for the technical issues that we came across, but hey, that's the world we live in. We came around it. I will see you next month. It will be December, so I've got to figure out the date for the December webinar, but I will be here because my commitment was to do 12 webinars a year, 12 webinars this year, and I've done it, or I will do it in December. What are you curious about? What gets your brain thinking? What is a topic that you can find that will make you curious enough to then go out and master it, so it can then turn into a passion and you can live your life on purpose? It's my challenge to you. What are you curious about? Thanks again for tuning in. Catch you next time.